Welcome back to Bible Shorts, episode 139. God keeps His promises. We've been looking at the story of a man called Abram in the book of Genesis. God had told Abram to leave his home and move to a land called Canaan, promising Abram that he would make of him a great nation. His descendants would inherit this new land, and from Abram, all the families of the world would be blessed. But Abram and his wife Sarai had no children. Again, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. It said, "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward shall be very great." But Abram said, "O Lord God, what will you give me? You have given me no children. A slave in my house will end up being my heir." But the word of the Lord came to him and said, "No one but your very own son shall be your heir." God brought Abram outside and said, "Look toward heaven and count the stars, if you are able to count them." Then God said to him, "So shall your descendants be." And Abram believed the Lord, and that faith made him right with God. On that day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, "To your descendants I will give this land." Now, if you're confused because you thought Abraham was considered the ancestor of the Jewish people, Abram and Abraham are two names for the same person. The promise of the land was fulfilled. Think of King David ruling over the kingdoms of Judah and Israel. But when and how did God keep the second promise, that the whole world will be blessed through Abram/Abraham? Now, the first chapters in the Gospel of Luke in the New Testament tell us this story. It was about a young girl called Mary, a man called Joseph, and a trip from Nazareth to Bethlehem. We're pretty familiar with the story as told in the Gospel of Luke. So let's look at a book by the author Nikki Grimes, The Voices of Christmas. She's using her creativity to imagine what these people are thinking. So let's begin with an angel called Gabriel, who had been sent earlier to inform a man called Zechariah that he and his wife Elizabeth would have a child in their old age. Elizabeth is now 6 months pregnant, and Gabriel now has another assignment: to give a message to Elizabeth's young cousin, Mary. In the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent by God to a town in Galilee called Nazareth, to a virgin. Hush, the hour is late. Nazareth lies sleeping, and I wait for my Lord to signal once again, "Go to earth below." When last I went, my words were for Zechariah. Now I pace the halls of heaven, memorizing a message for Mary. Every archangel I see envies me. I must get the message right. The light of the world is on his way. What will Mary say when I tell her? I wonder, what will he look like? God wrapped in baby skin, stepping from eternity into time. How will he hide his glory? How will he hold it all in? Oh, there, the bells chime, and I must go. And so I spread my wings and spring from heaven's balcony. The virgin's name was Mary, and he came to her and said, "Greetings, favored one. The Lord is with you." He's gone now, but still my bedroom walls beam brighter than moonrise. My spine tingles from his touch. Such heat pulsing from white light, voice deeper than echo. He spoke to me familiar words from prophecy. The Master is sending man a baby, a boy, a king, his son. Then he added, impossibly, you, Mary, will be the one he calls mother. And then he was gone. And now I alone remain rooted to this dirt floor, dizzy with wonder, pinching my wrist, waiting to wake from this dream. Her husband Joseph, being a righteous man and unwilling to expose her to public disgrace, planned to dismiss her quietly. There is little sleep for me tonight, only tossing and turning and mourning over Mary. I'll have to send her away now. How could I marry a girl who's having someone else's baby? Why has she done this to me? If only I could sleep. Then I could find answers in my dreams. I finally fall asleep. And then an angel says to me, Joseph, take Mary as your wife. The life inside of her comes from the everlasting one. He is the Messiah, God's own Son, and you will call him Jesus. Moments later, I awake, certain as sky that I've had more than a dream. I wait for this mighty mystery to unfold. For now, this one thing I know. I'm ready now to do whatever the Lord tells me to. And now we hear from a neighbor in Nazareth. In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem. I saw her belly ripe to the touch, her baby ready to drop at any time. And yes, I watched Joseph cinching wineskins to his donkey saddle, wondering why he was dragging that poor girl to Bethlehem. Someone from the family had to go, of course. The emperor made it plain, all must register for the census. But surely Joseph could have registered for them both. Still, gossips say Mary would not stay behind. God keep them both. The journey ahead is a maze of rough road and danger in the dark. I fear their future is marked with trouble. And now, the innkeeper. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in bands of cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. See here, my inn is splitting its sides with travelers, the spare room swallowed up by Roman soldiers, merchants, and who knows who. Don't blame me. The young girl, with belly round as a drum, was not the only one forced to come to Bethlehem. But since her husband rapped on our door, I led them to a dry spot in my stable, and a bed of hay on which to lay themselves. It was the most I could offer, other than to share my own warm room. And who would care to do that for strangers? It's not as if they were royalty, right? A stable would do for the night. But there's more to come. Look for Bible Shorts 140, where we will continue the voices of Christmas with a shepherd, some wise men, and a king called Herod.